So this is Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself, Self-Care and Meditation for Activists. I am Rebecca Winter. I am with Mass 5051. And the credentialed reasons why I am here teaching this is I am a certified yoga and meditation teacher. I've been teaching for about 15 years. I've been practicing yoga since I was 15, and I started my meditation practice when I was in second grade. I'm also trained in self-hypnosis for pain management and for pregnancy and delivery. Just as a little side note. And I am a licensed massage therapist. I'm not currently practicing, but I'm going to be bringing in some of that knowledge in here as well. So that is me in a nutshell. And so what are we going to be doing tonight? So our agenda. This is again, it's a pretty packed hour. I apologize if sometimes I speak quickly because I am trying to give you guys a lot of different tools. These are going to be intro level tools though. So it is okay if you have never meditated in your life, if you've never thought about self-care in your life, or even if this is something that you're returning to as a practice. At the very end, as I mentioned, I'm going to stop recording and open it up for a Q&A. So that might drift past 8 o'clock, and it's optional whether you'd like to attend or not. We're going to talk about why this matters. We're going to talk about recognizing burnout, which I'm sure we have all been recognizing lately. And we're going to talk about building your personal toolkit and routine, emphasis on the your, because everyone is going to choose their individual tools that work for them. And we're going to dive deeper into different breathing and grounding techniques. So I am going to be walking you live through some different exercises tonight. And then my hope is that we will have enough time to do a short little 10-minute guided meditation at the end so we can get nice and chilled out before we relax into our Friday evenings and discussion. Alrighty. Oh, and it doesn't want to progress. We're going to just make it progress. Okay, so to set the pace, we are going to start with a breathing exercise called alternate nostril breathing. And this is very basic. The pictures make it look more complex than it is. The reason that I want to start with this breathing exercise is it's really nice for grounding and centering. It helps connect your left and right brain, and it helps get you into your body. Also, if you are an allergy sufferer or if you deal with congestion, this is a really good exercise for that. So to get started, I'm going to show you the hand position. So if you raise your, I actually like to do it with, yeah, with my right hand. Your first two fingers, you can curl down, and I'm going to give you the option here. So the idea is you're going to put your thumb over your right nostril, and you'll be able to put your ring finger over your left nostril. If curling your fingers like this is difficult for you, you can actually put them up and keep them on what we in yoga call your third eye, so your forehead right between your eyebrows. But I'm going to curl my fingers. So I'm going to have you cover your right nostril. Take a nice deep breath in through the left. Pinch with your ring finger and thumb, pause. Release your thumb, exhale through the right. Pause. Inhale through the right. Pinch and pause. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Pinch and pause. Exhale through the right. Keep on going at the pace that feels right for you. So you're always breathing in through the same nostril you breathed out from. You're welcome to close your eyes. Relax your shoulders and your jaw. See if you can lengthen that pause between the breaths. We're going to do one more round. And the next time you breathe out through your right nostril, you can keep your eyes closed and just start to breathe normally through your nose, in and out. And notice if anything has shifted for you in your mood, in your thinking. And then when you're ready, you're going to open your eyes. So the first time being walked through an exercise like this, it might feel a little mechanical. A lot of the exercises that we're going to be looking at are things that will develop as you practice them. But the hope is that a practice like this is going to help give you some quick ability to center and bring down your heartbeat, relax your nervous system. So moving on, really to the beginning of this. Why are you here? Why did we all show up tonight? Activism is stressful, right? So life is already, for a lot of us, pretty darn stressful right now. There are, we have, a lot of us have jobs, a lot of us have families or partners or pets to care for. And then on top of that, the world is going crazy and we're getting inundated with news left and right. So on top of that, we chose to be activists and actually fight back and try to solve some of these problems, right? So we added stress to our plate. We need to learn how to take care of ourselves. So I want you to have a lens shift here. Activism to me is a form of caregiving. I think as a society, we already really recognize that caregivers need to take care of themselves. As an activist, you are a caregiver. We're caring for our country, we're caring for our community, and we are holding space for so many people. Especially if you are an organizer or a leader in your group, you know that you are fielding other people's stress as well, and we are holding space there. So a little bit of this is going to be tough love because I'm going to be reminding you a lot that you need to take care of yourself first. It's the old, you have to put your oxygen on yourself before you can put it on the people next to you in the plane. So the question that I want you to sit with tonight is, will you allow yourself to take care of yourself? Because so many caregivers, so many activists put themselves last. And I'm going to ask you, will you give yourself permission to put yourself first? And so this is what our brains start saying, right? And I'm bummed because my cute I had an animation that didn't want to work there, but that's okay. So a lot of us get into these practices and our brains say, but I don't want to. I don't want to make time for this. I don't want to take care of myself. And then there are also the valid concerns of we don't all have the same amount of money. We don't all have the same amount of time. We are coming from different walks of life. And that's part of why in this presentation, I'm going to give you different types of tools. Some of the tools that I talk about, they're not going to work for you, and that's fine. Put them away. But I'm hoping that you will take certain tidbits with you. And then the last thing, the this makes me feel weird. If this makes you feel weird, you're doing it right. Because a lot of learning a meditative practice in particular, which is only a piece of what we're talking about tonight, but it is going to make you feel weird in the beginning. Just the idea of putting yourself first and taking care of yourself might make you feel weird. So that's okay. You're allowed to feel weird. I'm going to ask you to sit with it. And then another big reason why this work is so important is that this is the work that links us to nonviolence. This is the work that allows us to learn how to actually control our emotions when things get really heated. So meditation is often used as a tool to learn self-control. And I'm going to talk about the difference, and there isn't much difference between meditation and self-hypnosis, but those are both tools to help us learn how to control ourselves in stressful situations. You need to become comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? We know that this is a marathon, not a sprint. Things are going to get harder before they get easier. How can we learn how to sit more with that discomfort? That's one of the things that I love about my yoga practice, because yoga is a perfect example of learning how to hold something difficult and and getting through it, persevering through it. And it's a practice, not perfection. So that's the other thing to learn, especially when it comes to meditation. I have been meditating for almost 40 years now. I still hate it sometimes, and sometimes I love it. And have I ever done it perfectly? No, I don't even know what meditating perfectly would look like. So this is not something that you're going to like get a gold star for at the end. This is something that you need to continue working on and building your practice. All right, so burnout. I don't think that I even needed to put this slide here, and this is certainly not an exhaustive list. I think we all, at this point, 4 months in, can you believe it's only been 4 months in since 5051 started? But 4 months in, most of us have felt a lot of the things on this list. So feeling drained, lack of motivation, increased irritability, difficulty concentrating, frequent headaches, withdrawing from friends and family, and decreased performance. And with all of that, a lot of guilt comes in too, right? Especially if you're getting those quips from your family members that you're not there enough, and if you feel like your performance isn't where you want it to be, then we have that extra layer of guilt. So these are the things that you need to start looking for. And the hope is if you can develop a regular self-care practice, we can catch the burnout quicker and hopefully stave it off. So this is a hard one. This is a really, really, really hard one, especially for activists to absorb. We cannot control everything. A lot of us stepped into this role because we realized that, no one's coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. We're the ones that need to step up and do the work to try to turn the country around. And even with us being out there and doing the work, we can't control everything. I can't control the SCOTUS rulings that happened today, right? So some of that I need to be able to let go because I'm also trying to lead an organization and keep us motivated and keep us going. So think of that in your life when you are getting really stressed out about things. Is this something you can control? Yes or no? If the answer is no, can you drop it and work on the things that you can control? And one of the things that you can learn to control is your body and mind. And that's where we start working on that body mind awareness. And people always talk about, connection of body and mind, connection of body and mind. What's the point? It really is emotional awareness. We feel emotions in our body usually before we recognize what those emotions are. And so, you might have a stomach ache, you might have a headache, you might have pain in your shoulders or your neck. And those are signs that there is likely some sort of emotional dysregulation that's happening. And if we don't catch those signs in time, then that turns into outbursts, negative behaviors. Um, so as you see, I'm saying that it often appears as physical symptoms, especially if you're good at lying to yourself. So if you're good at being like, no, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, your body's going to tell you that you're not. Long-term dysregulation can lead to chronic symptoms and illness. So I'm going to give you like the briefest anatomy lesson a little later about the connection between breath and our adrenal glands. But uh, our body, our emotions is not just this one isolated thing that you can remove from the body. Our emotions is a combination of what's going on in our brain and our physical reaction to it, because it's a culmination of mental and the different hormones and chemicals that our body produces to help us through these situations. So when you have an increase in corticosteroids, cortisol, sorry, in your body or adrenaline in your body, it over time is going to create chronic illness. And that dysregulation is also going to show up differently depending on how your brain works. So we all handle stress differently. We all handle this emotional dysregulation differently, and we have to walk that journey and figure that out for ourselves. So some people are going to get the headaches and muscle pain that I mentioned. Some people are going to disassociate, where their mind just checks out, and you might realize, let's say you're driving, because a lot of us disassociate naturally when we drive. You're on that regular road that you've done a million times. You get home and you realize, I don't remember anything that happened on that ride home. I don't remember if I had a red light. I don't remember if I flicked somebody off. That's a very simple way to understand disassociating, but there are a lot of us that as a mental reflex will disassociate if we're under a certain level of stress. And then also flaring pre-existing chronic and mental illness. I am someone who has lupus, and if I allow myself to get under too much stress, it is pain. It is painful for a long period of time. So you also, if you are someone who has a pre-existing chronic illness or a mental illness, then this is something to keep in mind because self-care practice is going to be extra important for you to do. Learning to listen, learning to ground. So we talk about grounding a lot in yoga and meditation, and all that means is connecting to the here and now. And that's also a really common form of meditation, but that's not the only form of meditation. One thing that I want to do an exercise on right now is I want to introduce you to a cognitive behavioral therapy exercise that is very helpful if you do find yourself in a stressful situation and you do feel that you're starting to disassociate or you're just starting to get like really amped up and you think you're about to explode. Just anytime when you are feeling dysregulated, this is a very, very basic cognitive behavioral therapy exercise. And we're going to keep our eyes open for this one because for this, the goal is to bring yourself back to the here and now. So I'm going to have you have a hand available, and I'm going to ask you to just name, either in your head or out loud, four things that you see. And you're actually going to say it. So, for example, I would say, I see a lamp and I touch my finger. I see a plant, I touch my middle finger. I see my computer, I touch my ring finger. I see a dragon, I touch my pinky finger. It's not a good dragon. So I want you to try it. Name four things that you see. Good. Now we're going to do that with what we hear. It can be hard to hear four distinct things, so it's okay if you don't get to four, but I want you to take a moment and I hear my children. I hear a door squeak. I hear the wind. I hear my foot tapping. Okay. And then we can get into more sensorial. So then it's touch. And for touch, instead of touching my finger, I'll touch a body part or I'll notice things I already feel. Like I feel my leg on the floor. I feel the texture of my shirt. I feel my hand. I feel the temperature of my skin. And then I like to add in one thing that I smell. I think it can be hard to find more than one. So taking a nice deep breath, noticing what you smell. And if you want to, you can do it for taste as well, especially if you recently ate something delicious. So we're invoking all of the senses. It's very concrete. You don't need to imagine anything. You're just noticing the space that you're in right now. Now, I went through all of the senses, but you can do this and focus on just one that worked for you. The what do I see tends to be the most accessible to a lot of people because most of us have so much visual input happening all the time. So that is an easy one. And you don't have to stop at four. If you are still disassociating or if you're still feeling dysregulated, you can continue. I love doing 10. That's a great one to do. So find either the one sense that worked for you and do as many as you need to calm down, or walk yourself through all of the senses, whichever felt best for you. So here's where you need to take responsibility. You take care of you, right? I mentioned that earlier. No one's coming to save us. We're going to be saving ourselves. Most of us are old enough that we don't have someone helping take care of us right now. We have to take care of ourselves. So Setting a self-care routine is you taking responsibility for the care of yourself. So it's your job to notice those signs of burnout or dysregulation. It's your job to have a plan for how you handle your self-care and to stick to that plan. It's your job to learn to say no. I'm going to be rereading my slides a lot after this because I'm really bad at that one. But we need to learn how to set boundaries for ourselves, and we need to learn how to stay within those boundaries. So learn that word no, it's a complete sentence. Silence the excuses. There will always be a reason that you need to stay up later or skip your exercise, um, or spend too much time cramped on your phone in this position. There's always going to be an excuse. Can you consciously say, no, I am not accepting excuses right now. I'm sticking to my self-care plan. And then take the break. So actually do it, do the work. All right, so now let's start looking at different tools. So I have things broken out into passive and active. These are going to be examples. This is, again, not a complete list. But one of the reasons that I like to point this out is that self-care is not necessarily all passive. We are all different people. Some of us do not have the energy level to want to like go for a run, and some of us have so much energy that if you want that person to sit and meditate, it is going to make their day worse. So we're going to talk about how you can have a little bit of both, and you can certainly lean towards just one or the other. So for passive, meditation and self-hypnosis, that one, I am going to push you a little bit that it is a practice. Meditation in particular is supposed to be uncomfortable in the beginning. It can be really hard to learn how to sit still. And especially in our society when we are so used to distractions and input all the time, to have to sit with your wolves, to have to just sit there with yourself, that can be real uncomfortable. And it can take a while for that to stop being real uncomfortable. And that is okay. So if that's how you feel when you go in to meditate, that is totally normal. And I'm going to encourage you. Can you still do it for 5 minutes? Can you just try 5 minutes a day? Can you try then maybe 10 minutes a day and just see where it goes? But just commit to giving it a try. So the difference between meditation and self-hypnosis. So I do both. I think in general, you're getting to the same place. You're getting to what's called a hypnagogic state through both meditation and self-hypnosis. When you get to that state, it stimulates what's called your parasympathetic nervous system. That is the part of the channel of our body that allows us to relax. So that brings down your heart rate, it brings down your breathing, it increases your lung capacity. So your breath gets longer and deeper instead of shallower and faster when the sympathetic nervous system is activated. It also increases your digestion and it helps you sleep. Meditation can be a lot of different things, but most people think of it as grounding in the here and now. So a lot of that is the real sitting with your wolves that are here howling at you right now, just being. Self-hypnosis normally has a goal in mind. So normally you're getting to that hypnagogic state and then you are giving suggestions to your subconscious. So as an example, I mentioned that I use self-hypnosis for pain management. So I get myself to that relaxed state and then I visualize turning off my pain receptors, literally like a light switch. And as bizarre as it might sound, after practicing for a while, it works. It works really well for me. This is something that I personally also used when I birthed both of my children. And I can honestly say, even with an 8 and a 10 pound baby, I didn't feel pain during those births. It was uncomfortable, but I didn't feel pain. So meditation and self-hypnosis can be extremely powerful. I'm sure you've heard of people using self-hypnosis to stop smoking. Some people use it for weight loss, which that whole sphere I have mixed feelings about, but it can be a very powerful tool. So how can you get into meditation? Calm and Headspace are both great apps that you can use. I want to be totally forthcoming that there's a price to both of them. Unless you happen to be an educator, as an educator, I get Calm for free. So there are ways to, get some discounts here, but not everyone can afford it. And so there are a lot of free options for meditation on YouTube. I'm going to have resources at the end, and I'm going to link to some of those as well. Breathing techniques, which I'm going to show you a bunch of in a few minutes. That helps your body calm down, and it's not as high commitment as meditating. Journaling. How many of us have journaled in our lives and then just stopped at one point? Pick it back up. Journaling is a great way to like get all that crap out of your head and onto a page, and then you can close a book. You can like literally close your thoughts away and put them away. Journaling is a great way to work things out. Take a bath or just go in water in general. Oh my gosh, water is so healing. So these are ideas of passive. What I want you to notice is there are none of this is like looking at a screen and reading. So when I say take a bath, I don't mean take a bath and put on the TV or like prop your phone up in the bathtub. I mean like turn off the phones because when you are still receiving input, you are not allowing your body to relax and you are inhibiting that mind-body connection. So for actual self-care, put that stuff away. There are great times to veg out in front of the TV. Don't get me wrong. That can be great. I wouldn't call that self-care personally. So then active. For folks who do not want to sit still or want to do a little bit of both, running or walking are great activities if you're physically able to do them. I want to acknowledge again that not all of these are going to work for everyone. I started running during COVID because I needed to run away from my family. I love my family. They're great. But I could like physically leave the house and run around. And running and walking are both also great ways to just notice nature around you. We're going to talk about that in a sec too. Shaking and tapping. So interestingly enough, for certain neurotypes, this is something that people do anyway as a way for their bodies to calm down. These are techniques heavily used in both yoga and massage, because they interrupt what's happening in your nervous system and they help reset your nervous system. So, as an example of tapping, which you're welcome to follow along with me, we have something in massage called tapotement. So, we take a really soft fist and just tap. And I like to tap from an extremity all the way down. So, I would tap from my shoulder down to my fingers, and I would turn over my fingertips and tap back up and do that. Tapping on shoulders and gently on the back of the neck can be really nice, especially when you've got tight muscles in your neck and your shoulders. You can tap with fingertips on the face. That feels so nice. You can get like all tingly in the face, tapping all the way down the body. It's so soothing for the body. And then the same thing with shaking, shaking out the hands, shaking out the arms. It's great for your joints. It loosens up your muscles and your tendons. There are real physiological reasons to do this. And I always, especially when I'm teaching yoga with children, I always have people do some sort of physical shaking or moving or stretching before settling into a meditative practice, because that gets out all the wiggles in the body before you have to sit still for a little while. So I love adding the active and the passive together. Yoga. Yoga is active. Yoga really makes your mind and your body connect. Part of a lot of people think about yoga is just like stretching and chilling out and like drinking tea with lemon. And no, a lot of yoga is strength work as well. And it's getting into uncomfortable positions and using your breath and the power of your mind to stay in those positions until your body relaxes into them. Yoga can be mentally very challenging despite being a fairly slow type of activity. And again, that connection back to nonviolence, because training your body in that way to stay in a stressful position, but be still and quiet your mind directly ties into the work that we do when we go to a protest if things go sideways. It reminds us, no, I don't have to punch that cop. I can take a beat and I can remain nonviolent because that's going to send a stronger message. Touch grass. Go touch grass. Get your vitamin D. You're doing it if you're running and walking, but you can also do it by going out and gardening, going out and swimming, getting water, going out and hiking. So seriously, go touch grass and let that vitamin D make you happy because that's literally what it does. Vitamin D makes us happy. Okay, so those are some tools in your toolkit, but now how do you turn this into a routine? Because that's really what's going to help you. I mean, going for a walk is probably going to make you feel better that day, but going for a walk every day is probably going to actually make you a better person. So the top three, everyone hates me for, but these are the three that I say are the most important to do. And as someone with a chronic illness, these are the three of my non-negotiables. So exercise looks different for everybody. I'm not saying that you've got to go burn 1,000 calories a day. I'm saying in what way can you move your body in a healthy, meaningful way that makes you feel good? Diet. Diet is incredibly personal. I am not here to tell you what to eat. I can't tell you what to eat. It's been years of working with a registered dietitian for me to figure out what the heck to eat. But I am betting everyone in this room knows some treat that might be really tasty to your mouth and then might make you feel like crap later. Sometimes it's worth still feeling like crap later to eat a tasty, delicious thing. But are you using that as a crutch every day? And are you actually making yourself feel worse every day by putting that in your body? Um, and then, so yeah, so basically make those decisions for yourself. Also, like think about caffeine intake as well, especially if you are someone who has sleep issues. How much caffeine are you having in the day? Activists were always on the go. I know I was like literally just pounding down a chai before this so that I could stay awake for you guys. So that's a terrible. Why am I drinking caffeine at 6 at night? Make good decisions for your body. And then sleep. I actually like my group probably hates me for this, but I do not participate in events after 8 p.m. because I can't. Because I will go in a lupus flare if I don't stick to my sleep schedule. It is okay for you to say that. It is okay for you to put boundaries around your sleep. Your body literally needs it. So exercise, diet, sleep, my personal non-negotiables. Then add in your passive and active tools of your choice. And they don't have to be both. I put them in there because a lot of people do prefer to mix it up. I personally use both passive and active tools. Limit your screen time. I think probably most of us are also aware that like the blue light right before going to sleep, not a great recipe to get a good night's sleep. Put your devices down. Also, just being on devices all day long creates this posture where we curl our shoulders in, we curl our neck down. Over time, you literally shorten your pectoral muscles and you elongate the muscles behind your shoulder and neck, which can cause chronic pain in shoulders and neck. That can cause issues with vision. It can cause jaw pain if you're clenching your jaw all the time, if you're scrunching up your head all the time, getting those headaches. So, give yourself some rules around those screens, not to mention the amount of stress doom scrolling can cause. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't mention cultural and faith-based practices. So this isn't a choice that everyone makes, but for some people, it is extremely important and worthwhile to look back at like what are the cultural practices that help me feel more grounded and connected? What are the indigenous practices? What are the faith-based practices? Maybe those are things to bring back into your life. And last but definitely not least, time with family, friends, and pets. I deleted, but for the sake of time, a slide that I had about the difference between oxytocin and now my brain doesn't want to work, but the quick hits dopamine. The quick hits that you get when you are doom scrolling, that dopamine of watching those little 30-second videos versus actually hugging a friend versus petting your pets and snuggling with them, versus all of that time with the people you love, which produces oxytocin in your body, which is a hormone that creates that long-lasting feeling of love and belonging. So yeah, make sure that you're still checking in with the folks that you love or the animals. Definitely the animals. All right, quick anatomy lesson that I promised you. So I think the diaphragm is so freaking cool. So if you look over on the right hand of my slide, the muscle, this pink part that you see, you probably can't see my mouse, but the pink part that you see on the inside of the ribs there is the diaphragm. The diaphragm is the muscle in our body that allows us to bring air in and out. So I'm going to show you a quick video of the diaphragm here. So when you are breathing in, the diaphragm pulls down. That helps pull air into your lungs. And when you are breathing out, the diaphragm relaxes and the lungs push back up, pushing air out of your system. If you look at how large that diaphragm is inside the body, and I'm going to play this again because I think it's really cool, you'll notice that it attaches to the inside of all of your ribs. Your ribs work kind of like an umbrella, opening and closing along with the diaphragm, again, bringing in air, squeezing air out. What you don't see here is that the diaphragm actually connects to, I believe it's 12 of your organs. And so your breath has a major effect on how your organs are working. Digestion alone is huge. If you're having issues with heartburn or constipation, taking deep breaths can work a lot of that out. But on the right side of my screen, what I want you to notice is those blue areas that are on the top of the kidneys there. Those are your adrenal glands. And the diaphragm directly connects to your adrenal glands. Adrenal glands produce adrenaline. On the flip side, when your adrenal glands are forced to chill out, your body is forced to chill out. So when you take a deep breath, you literally help reduce adrenaline and cortisol in your body. So it's not just a line that we're feeding you when yoga and meditation teachers tell you to take deep breaths. It physiologically changes your body in a way that helps you calm down. And when you can calm down, you have more spoons to handle things in your life. So, with that primer, we're going to breathe. I have a few different breathing exercises to go through with you. The first is one of the simplest, and I think it is such a lovely one for grounding. I actually do this starting with toddlers that I teach, and I do it with adults. So it works for wide variety. If you are a parent, this is a great exercise to do with your kids, especially if they're feeling dysregulated. But you're just going to take a hand and you're going to trace it. And as you trace your thumb up, you're breathing in. As you trace your thumb down, you're breathing out. Then up, breathe in, and down. And I'm going to let you go at your pace now. So you were just tricked into breathing 5 times, 5 deep breaths. And then I want you to notice how you feel. Just notice if there was any sort of shift emotionally, physically, mentally. And you could repeat that as much as you want until you start to regulate. So the next one, straw breath. I wish I had taught this earlier in the week when we were having that heat wave because this helps the body cool down. And so you can do this in a couple of different ways. If you have the ability to curl your tongue, you're going to curl your tongue, you're going to stick it out. It's okay to feel weird, right? We already covered that. It's okay to feel weird. If you cannot curl your tongue, you can actually grab a straw and literally put a straw between your lips. So for those of us who can curl our tongues, I'm going to have you bring your tongue out and curl it. And you're going to breathe in and out through that straw, long, deep breaths. So we'll all do it together. And as you're going, you might notice that the air coming in over your tongue feels cool. And this is true even in hot and humid weather. It's going to feel cooler when you're sucking that air in. And then that has that effect that ripples out often through our face, through our shoulders, and hopefully through the whole body. So it can physically help cool us and it can mentally help cool us down. Ha breath. So I did some studying in Hawaii and I learned ha breath from the kapunas there. The idea with ha breath is to invoke the sound of the ocean in your breath. This is like so easy to do. It takes me longer to explain than to do it. But so when you're going to be breathing in and out of your mouth the whole time, and you're going to be you're going to try to make your breath as breathy as possible. So as an example, I'll breathe here. As I breathe in and out, you're hopefully going to hear the emulated sounds of the ocean. So it's, and I invite you to join in with me. And you're going to always go at the pace that works for you. The more you can elongate the breath, especially on the exhale, the more your body is allowed to soften into it. I sometimes add vocalization as well. So for that exhale, so we're really working on breathing into the belly with this one. So when I exhale, I can actually push some of that air out. It almost sounds like Lamaze breath or something, but it's really nice that getting that vibration through the body. There's a lot of great work done about the power of sound vibrations. You might see things advertised around you to go to healing sound baths. Um, and there can be spiritual components to that, but there also is just literally the grounded in physiological effect of sound is wave and vibration. Vibration helps reset the nervous system. So you can be your own sound bath and create that vibration inside of yourself. In Hawaii, there's the idea that if you practice 30 ha breaths a day, and I don't mean like throughout the day, I mean in the morning, get up and do 30, or in the evening before you go to bed, do 30, that it can completely reset your neuroceptors. I don't believe there is actual science behind that, but it definitely, I've been through that practice and it definitely changed the way I saw the world. So I do recommend thinking about doing that in your practice. And again, that belabors the point that this is a practice. This isn't a one and done. So you're going to find the tools that work for you, and I'm going to encourage you to purposefully set aside some time every day to practice those tools. So then Durga breath, I'm going to be using to lead us into our meditation that we're going into. So Durga breath is full body breathing, and there are different ways that it's taught. So I'm going to teach you my preferred way, and I'm going to be walking you through expanding the breath in your belly, in your ribs, and all the way up to the tips of your lungs. And then you're going to be letting that go. So we're going to move into that in just a moment. So let me get to the next slide. So this is hopefully taken as a gift to you. I wanted to be able to chill you out after the end of what is probably a long week to reset yourself for your weekend. So this is when I'm going to invite you to really get yourself into a comfortable position. You can sit if you want to. You're welcome to lie down. I sometimes use this before I go to sleep at night. So I'm a side sleeper. I would lay on my side. Generally for meditation, not the best idea to sleep on your belly, but if you're using this to help you fall asleep, go for it. But yeah, so get yourself into a comfy position. There's no show on the screen, so you're welcome to close your eyes now. This time is for you. So you're just going to check in with your body. I want you to start by just taking a breath. And when you release that breath, I want you to consciously let your body go. When you take your next breath, as you exhale, I want you to consciously let your emotions go. And then when you take your next breath, on the exhale, I want you to consciously let your mind go. So moving into Dirga breathing, you are welcome to bring your hands to your belly if that helps you feel connected. You can also leave them by your side. You're going to breathe in through the nose and imagine that air coming down into your belly, letting your belly, your side waist, and your low back expand. Continuing to breathe to fill the lungs through the rib cage. Continuing to breathe until you're as full as you can be, like you've taken in as much air as possible. And then as you're ready, you're going to open your mouth and you're going to let all of that air pour out, pouring out from the lungs, from the ribs, from the belly. And you're going to keep going at your pace. So when you breathe in, you're taking that time to fill your body like a big balloon, as big as it can be. And when you're ready to let that go, you're going to open your mouth and let that balloon completely deflate. Seeing with each breath, can you take in a little more air? Can you hold that air at the top and notice how it feels to be so full? And then when you can't hold it any longer, can you feel that relief of letting that air escape the body? One more full, big breath. And letting go. Allow your breath to return to neutral. Following the natural arc in and out. Can you allow your head to release completely? Feeling the full weight of the head relaxing down. Softening the muscles around your ears. Softening your forehead, your eyebrows. Letting your eyes float in their sockets. Releasing all expression from the face. Allow your jaw to release. Your teeth can separate. Your tongue can float in the mouth. Notice where the base of your skull meets your neck. Can you soften all the muscles holding the base of your head? And can you let that feeling of relaxation creep down the back of the neck? Releasing the front of the throat, allowing the throat to be open and clear. And as the neck releases, allow the shoulders to soften down. Nice and soft across the collarbones. And around the tops of the arms. Allow that sense of relaxation, that sense of relief to travel from the shoulders down to the elbows, down through the forearms, softening through the wrists, the hands, and down every finger. Allow the upper back to soften now. And as the upper back melts down, allow the chest, the heart, the lungs to soften and release. Plenty of space to breathe. Feeling the ribs start to release. Feeling the mid back start to soften. Notice the base of the sternum. This area is also called the solar plexus, and we tend to hold a great deal of emotion here. Can you soften that solar plexus? Can you allow any emotion there to release, even just a hair? Giving you a sense of lightness and freedom in the middle of your torso. Allow that relaxation to sink down through your low back, your side waist, and purposefully release your belly. Nice, soft, round Buddha belly. Releasing now through the pelvis and the hips. And allowing that to travel down your thighs as if the muscles of the thigh can fall away from the bone. Releasing through the knees, the shins and the calves. Down through the ankles, tops and soles of the feet, and every toe. Surrender the whole body. Release the whole body. Let go. Start to notice your breath again. Allow your inhales to deepen, letting your breath start to wake up your body by massaging it from within. Invite movement back by wiggling in fingers and toes, circling wrists and ankles, and slowly in your own time, you will allow your body to come back and blink your eyes open. If you're lying down, you can take your time getting back into a seated position. I'm going to be ending the recording. Oh, actually, I'm not going to be ending the recording just yet, because I wanted to show the discussion and resources slide. But I'm going to end here, and I'm going to